Thank you. And Fred will get your name in the minutes then for your, so everybody knows your name. Okay, and we do have a set of minutes from February 18th. Additions, corrections,
I have no
amendments?
changes or corrections to them. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
John? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
TJ?
Yes. Okay, first meeting of the month, we have regular reports. We're going to start with Mr. Kitco, the zoning inspector. That's nice.
Should all have a copy of the activities for February. We did process 6 applications on the new dwelling. We spent quite a bit of time here again trying to work with prospective landowners. And let's see, I guess Quinn Road and Taylor May down there, and Bartholomew down in that area is one where there's a considerable, seems to be considerable bunch of interest, but if you're all familiar with that land, about 80% of it is in the wetlands. And so we've been spending time with, well, the one case came before the Board of Appeals, and then I think their action now is they have withdrawn. They're not going to even, they don't even want us to hear the case, but subsequently there are 2 other, on the other side of Quinn Road, there are 2 other prospective buyers. And Jane and I have been trying to guide them as far as what they have to go through. You know, about the Army Corps of Engineers, it's not that you can't cross the wetlands or work in the wetlands, but you have to have their permission and approval to do so. And then just recently, in the last 2 weeks, you all know where Thistlewood subdivision was proposed up. Well, it would be if you extended Stafford Road across 44 straight there. That was a proposed subdivision called Thistlewood, where there's some interest there, and here again they're trying to, there was never a plotted subdivision, so it was actually never formally proposed. It was got through the sketch and that was it. And so the prospective buyers are trying to figure out how to build 2 houses on this big parcel of land with 1 driveway, and of course we say no, you can't do that. They are concerned about the wetlands, and here again, they have to go to the Army Corps, they have to go to the Army Corps, but we've spent considerable time trying to explain and walk them through the process and putting them in contact with someone from the Army Corps, or their surveyor should be aware about the surveyor up there is Reese Schwartz, and he knows exactly what to do to. But Mary Lambert's involved, and anytime you deal with Mary, you know, it's very interesting. But she's representing them, so. As far as the activities, you can see there, we did have 1 new dwelling proposed. The other thing that I was laid on my desk on Friday is this, a letter from the WACA here, in reference to the 208 sewer plant, and I guess they're trying to, I don't quite know exactly what they're trying to do, update it or modify it possibly, but anyway, in a nutshell, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I'm just standing here and kind of hold this up. It says that the purple is existing sewers, okay? But here's a development here with about 60-some homes.
No.
And I called the guy and I says, how come that's not on there? And he didn't have an answer for me. And then I said, this parcel here is Seward. And we got
Doesn't
to
show
talk.
Auburn corner.
And we got to
No,
talk.
no changes at Auburn Corners.
No,
I
there's
talked
no
to-
changes at all. Then we got to talking about East Washington Street here, and I said, well, I said, at least 6 or 8 of those businesses are hooked to the sewer, why don't they don't show up? So I don't know, and he said to me, can you get me the addresses? And I said, well, probably, and then.
Did they have that?
I got to thinking about it, I says, why should this office provide him with that? They obviously bill those people that are all hooked to the
Right.
sewer. But Rad Band Complex is hooked to the sewer.
Yeah.
And the only one they're showing on East Washington Street is the pond, I believe.
A letter came from Department of Water Resources, and, let's see, they're describing this as a proactive measure to avoid possible project delays if a facility planning area, or FPA modification, is needed to clarify the prescription for one of these split parcels, which, that's pretty good government speak, and I still don't know what it means. But they put us on a time schedule, 6 weeks. And if you remember, this, I think we developed this plan like in the late 90s, I'm thinking, Frank. I can remember David Dietrich at planning, kind of shepherded everybody through it. It was a countywide thing. We set up a citizens committee. I can remember there was a panel of 5. I don't remember everybody was on it, but I know Ray Simpson was on it. I think Russ Nelson was on it. We met for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months, something like that, and decided to just keep the sewer, potential sewer areas in our commercial zoning, match the zoning, in other words.
Right.
So now, I mean, you know, they were insistent that this was gonna be all locally developed, and now we got Noakatons, so we gotta change it.
Well, in discussion with him, he did say, well, their concern is on, as far as Auburn is concerned, is the properties along East Washington Street, that the commercial district is 600 feet deep from the center line of the road, and some of those properties are not 600 feet deep, and what happens is then the back section of Indian Hill subdivision, the back parcel of some of those lots is technically commercially zoned, and they would like to, I don't know how you can clear that up unless you modify the zoning to match the property lines, which we worked on, but I guess the zoning commission never finished it.
Yeah, we authorized that
We did.
several years ago,
Right.
so that might be something to do, but how many times has this become, has that been an issue in the last 25 years?
It's never been an issue.
Never been an issue. So here's a guy who sends us a map that isn't even
Remotely correct.
near correct, and I'm a little suspect of this whole process right now.
Well, yeah, and that was my concern is, when Nancy first gave it to me, I'm looking at it, I said, wait a minute, Nancy, Lauren Woods is all sewer, but it's not shown here. And then I got to really looking at it, and I said, well, this one's sewer that I know of, and I know that, like I say, the Hitching Post, Kansas Pizza, Smith Imports, those along in there, Rad Van is all, they're all hooked to the sewer.
Well, none of the lot lines have been changed since this was initially done 25 years ago.
Well, those lot lines have
And,
never been changed.
so I don't know that they're counting on, I don't know this gentleman, but I know you were here, I was here, PJ was here when we did this. We're
Right.
very familiar with what we did to do this, so I think he needs to come back to you, and then you come back to us, but
Well,
this
so
hasn't
what I-
got near the right information.
What I told him was, finally, I said, I'll have to speak with the trustees about this, I said, because technically it's addressed to them, not to me, and I says, I'm gonna see what they wanna do, and I will get back with you, and, but he said, well, could you give me some addresses? And at first I thought about it, I said, well, wait a minute, he can go to his obviously those people are all getting billed, you know, so,
Yeah, I think they've gotta go back, correct all this before they even approach us for anything.
right, so, but I just want.
I think Frank should represent us in this initial stage, if you don't mind, Frank.
No,
I agree.
But I just wanted to, you guys, I said, that's up to the trustees, if they want me to talk to you and to meet with you, I will do it, I said, but you address the letter to the trustees, so, you know.
I spoke to this fellow that Friday when I talked to you too. Steve, I don't know how you pronounce that, Bolog. And 7 townships got this letter and proposed changes. 3 of them had already called his office and kind of asked
What's going on?
what, yeah. And one of them already signed off and returned it. So, also called, as I said, the planning director, David Dietrich, helped us set this up in the first place. And I called planning Friday and nobody up there was aware of anything.
Right,
I think Nancy said, I think we faxed, or she emailed
You got it up there.
this
somewhere.
proposal to
Right.
them on
They
Friday.
didn't know anything about it.
Well, if you recall, when we signed it, we entered into this agreement. This was a very important agreement
Oh, yeah.
backing up our zoning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that we were instructed, and I think it made good sense, this isn't something you just change willy-nilly. And in my book, nobody's brought anything to me to warrant this yet. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but give
Well,
me
yeah,
some
'cause-
facts and figures before I go off and change
Right,
this thing.
you know,
Pretty big piece bordering,
there's a
park,
considerable amount on
bordering
this.
the park that now would be fully within the sewer.
Yeah, what they were,
Potential
the
sewer,
green
and
area.
then there's
is
also
maybe sewer.
one down near Monroe, a great big piece that now they have completely out, which
Right.
is kind of an arbitrary decision on how they come to that.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Okay.
All right, I will work with them, I just wanted to call it to your attention.
Thank you,
make sure.
thank you, I think that's pretty important,
That's all
I think
I
we're gonna
got,
take
you
it
know.
seriously.
Excuse me, question. Did it actually have NOACA identification on the envelope?
No, it came from Water Resources.
Oh,
NOACA is referenced though
In the letter.
a couple times. Okay, any other questions, zoning related? All right, Emmerich Gordon's here, he's our highway superintendent.
Okay, Auburn Township Road Department report for February 2019. February saw 11 weather events that required 12 rounds of plowing and/or salting. The usage for the month was 333 tons of de-icing material, which brings the updated monthly average to 499 tons. Prior to this year, it was set at 513, so it did drop a little bit. The total amount of road salt used to the end of February was 1,594 tons. Salt receipts for the month were approximately 700 tons that we did order in, and that was out of, and allotted 1,066 tons that we're able to purchase for the two consortium. We currently have 1,129 tons in our dome. In that total of 1,594 tons, we did have 60 rounds total of plowing. And what this does, this gives us an average of 5.3 tons per round per truck going down. Now what that tells us, our trucks are loaded with 8 to 9 tons. We're bringing salt back. And that's the one thing that's critical for us in this record keeping. And it enables us and helps us to peg our committed amount, which we've done year after year in a 2,000 ton amount. So just to let you know, we're not wasting the salt, we're practicing our due diligence and putting down the correct amount at the correct time. The one thing I want to point out here, our average usage over the last 13 years is 1,759 tons. We're running just about at average, somewhere around there. Well, what this enables us to do with doing a committed amount, which you and I did discuss, I'd like to say that we're keeping some in our back pocket from the previous year contract, and up until the year 2013, 2014, we actually had an entire season's worth of salt on the last year contract that we were able to purchase, so we wouldn't be out the ensuing year, God forbid something bad happened, catastrophic with the salt deliveries. In the 2014, 2015 winter as well, we took a hit there, and now we have slowly crawled back, where at the end of this season, we're gonna have roughly between 800 and 1,000 ton left in our dome again from this last year's contract. So what this does, this gives us a jump on next year, where, as in the case this year, when we ran into that little snafu with the Q consortium, we already had between about 900 tons, 8 to 900 in our dome. We didn't have to scramble for an entire year's worth of de-icing material. We were able just to pick up 1,000 ton, which was relatively easy to do within that day. And right now we're back on track to, it looks like we're moving towards having a season in reserve, let's call it. And that's one of our strategies that we do have, that we do use. So, you and I will review our salt options this coming year, and that should be relatively soon, here, probably by the end of April.
We're gonna go to a Q meeting here in March. We'll learn a little bit more about what Q's plans are, and then we'll make a decision whether we stick with Q or seek another resource for salt. Over the, how many years have we been in Q? Emmer? Probably a dozen? 13 years. It's been a very, very good cooperative, and this is the first time we've ever run into a little snafu. I think it was out of their control. It was caused by the supplier, just up and voiding our the contract with Q and saying, well, we're not gonna honor it. And I guess that's one of the problems when you have a single source, two sources of salt for how many, 500 communities?
Right.
So, but anyway, I think we'll be on top of this. There's no issues that we have, and plus we're pretty, we made it through the year with pretty economical pricing on salt, so.
I did purchase, or excuse me, the township did purchase 700 tons out of the 1,066 available to us. We have approximately 80 tons that we can purchase, and I think it is prudent that we do at that $79 per ton, purchase at 80 tons.
Right.
Prior to the end of their agreement, which is April 30th, and get that in our dome. And that'll keep us anywhere from 800 to 1,000 tons.
Just so we don't
head
have
start.
to go through it, extraordinary measures to stack it, that's all.
Okay, cold patching was done on various roads. We did use 5-ton material that we had from last year's purchase. What we're experiencing now is really a big decrease in the amount of materials that we're using in the winter. Our roads are staying together pretty good. There's a couple problem roads, we know which ones they are, but we're on top of them once we see the holes and get the opportunity. I did purchase 8 additional tons to replenish our stock, and we'll be getting into that, I'm sure, prior to the asphalt plant's opening in the middle of April. I just want to let you know we did use the new truck to pull our the hot box that we did purchase, and it worked phenomenal. We're very happy with that purchase. The 33% reduced load limit signs were put up, and our list was submitted to the county engineers, which is the only way that they become enforceable when you submit your list. The Munn Road and Washington Street intersection street name signs were replaced with new mounting brackets, and I don't know, the bracket was gone as well. And I don't know who went up there and shimmied up that pole and took the brackets and the signs, but it's quite unusual at that intersection to miss your, it's called an MW8. It's a big aluminum bracket that the signs mount to, but everything disappeared. So we did get signs, a couple of replacements in inventory, and some of those brackets. So that was the only one we replaced. Touching on that, ODOT did come back out, and they are offering a grant again in 2019 for signs. Thank you, Fred, for supplying me with that material. How the township works, and one of our choices was to work on a 10-year attrition program, which is what we chose to do. So we wouldn't really be looking at replacing our existing signage, which is out there right now, until 2022, 2023. And if something does come around then we will be involved, and we will seek out the grant and see if we can get funding for that as well. When this was done in 2012, it was done in one fell swoop. So this was something that we got a grant, which the engineers, with their help, we had that grant secured, and we were the second township in Geauga County. Chester was first to come into compliance. The high winds on February 23rd and 24th did bring down several trees. The chief here will attest to that. We did work well together on that. We just had a couple trees on a couple of our roads. We did spend some time bringing Chief Phillips here some barricades to shut down Center Road there. They did have some wires on the road there. We did spend the next morning, there was a lot of branches and debris on the road. So we did take time that very next morning to come in and clean up a lot of the roadways. Other than that, everything else is mechanically sound with our trucks. We're running well. And I don't see, although we did talk about a loader, I think that's the one thing that we were discussing. I don't see the need right now for anything else other than that to research that. That's what I got.
Okay. Any road-related questions tonight? Thank you very much, Emmer. Mr. Everly, a report?
You know, I don't really have anything to add to what Mr. Gordon's already brought forth.
He does a good job,
He's quite thorough.
I tell you. How about you, Mike?
Okay. Just want to say that Fred and I attended the Girl Scouts award ceremony. We brought proclamations for the girls, and the troop leaders just wanted to extend their thanks to the board for recognizing their efforts and sending out those proclamations. I want to thank Chief and the fire department for the pancake breakfast. As you all know, we only had one this year. How was the turnout on that, Chief?
423.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good turnout.
Okay, good. Well, again, thanks to all the guys for doing that for us again this year.
Thanks to everybody for coming, made it.
Okay, and I did get a email from the people at Auburn Lakes. The milling operation has ceased. Complaining because now they can hear Washington Street, but when the leaves grow back, it'll be fine. And okay, at the we've had some humidity issues at the fire station, and at our last meeting we approved we're going to have basically an air balance evaluation done, and that will get us into find out exactly what needs to be done to take care of the humidity issue. When are they supposed to do that, Chief?
They did it Friday and today.
Friday?
Completed today.
Completed today? When will we have any results?
We're waiting for the report to come in the next couple of days.
Okay, good, we'll have a report on that then, next meeting. Okay, that's all I have.
The only thing I have that's not on the agenda is, Emmerich, you and I have talked about it too, that fence in front of the Shady Side Cemetery, the posts out, rails out, I think that thing's probably reaching the end of its life cycle there. You know, we're doing 3-4 posts a year in there, and any thoughts on some short, low maintenance, metallic type of fence in the front there versus the split rail?
How much have we replaced on that split rail so far? I'm saying.
Every year there's something.
I'm saying
Every year there's
may
something.
already be half done.
Yeah, every year there's something. I don't know. Anybody, any interest in replacing that with something?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean,
I'll drive
the
past.
split reel has, you know, the nice aesthetic to that. I don't know what really.
Take a drive past there. It's showing its age. So,
Maybe a hedge.
hedge complies with state law, it does, yeah. That's entirely possible. Have to have hedge maintenance on.
Gordy, how's your stock of hedge trimmers?
JFD has some.
JFD, but you know, if you think about it, we had this hedge out here for all these years, and we really had very, very minimal maintenance on it. I mean, I know for probably 20 years it never was, you know, of course it got to be 8 feet
It got
tall.
to be a little out of control.
But it's something we could easily have JFD maintained in the spring, and it's also replaceable.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll check
There's no
that
problem
out.
with the hedges, I mean, you wanna talk to JFD and just,
Yeah.
there's some
We
budgetary
will.
figures on it.
Yeah, it took a beating this winter up there again, too. And,
How did the benches and stuff are all in good shape?
bench looks good, yeah, that corner's, actually, that corner looks real good. It's from there west that it's, paying attention.
We are thinking of, not thinking, we have on our list of projects to pave those roads and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, get Todd Lamb in here again, put asphalt up there.
At Shadeside?
At Shadeside.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, I just had a conversation with them last Friday. So we're already in a dialogue about that, we'll get some figures here.
Probably, but I think, didn't we have that down as short as a day, day and a half, something like that?
Yeah, it wouldn't be much longer than a day, day and a half.
And so really minimal cost for us to fix those roads down there. I'm just saying, if we have to do some approaches, the approaches are, need a little bit of
Finessing,
finessing.
per se, but, you know, we did this out here, which required a lot of finessing.
Yeah,
It came
yeah,
out
no,
rather
this
well.
has been fantastic, this has been fantastic.
I think the one thing we did talk about is maintaining the 8-foot width.
Right.
We can't encroach on the graves over there, so.
Now, one question I got is this long delayed project that I see, we got a letter, just a letter from a high school student, I believe, probably
Yeah, the pothole.
for government
Yeah.
class.
That'd be a good point for all these students to find out that there's 3 different kinds of roads in your township. Some roads are maintained by Auburn Township, those are township roads. Some are county roads, and others are state roads. And there's no intermixing between the responsibilities of those 3 parties, and it has to do with liability. And Washington Street is a county road, and we do not have any responsibility or authority to do any plowing, patching, any work at all on that road.
Can't put a sign up there.
And then that is also true on 44, where that's a state road. So I know we get calls, not recently, but over the years, I've had calls where people have seen our trucks drive down a road with the plow up, and they're screaming and yelling, "Why didn't you plow this when you drove down the road?" We don't have the authority to do that. And it is quite a liability can of worms. And all of our guys, they know that, and yeah, that's not, Washington Street is not one of our roads to maintain.
It is on the county engineer's schedule though to be fixed. I mean, I think a major reconstruction actually next year now,
Maybe 2 years.
maybe 2 years. At which point that curb's gonna come out in front of the cemetery?
That's our understanding.
right.
Yeah, okay.
However, if we've already taken care of our end, they'll match the approach when they do their project. Their project will include an approach that's acceptable, or an apron to our driveway. That's how that'll work.
I'm still, it's gonna be just such a major change if there's a ditch in front of that cemetery now too. So, obviously you don't.
It
plan-
changes the maintenance
Yeah,
aspect. of
sure, you don't
A
plan-
little more time consuming with the weed whackers and stuff down
Yeah,
in the ditch.
well, obviously, we don't plan anything in the right of way anyway, but,
It'd be interesting to see where the center of the ditch line will be, if that's, and this is one thing, as we're talking about a new hedgerow or fence line, I think maybe we need to, we'll do some replacing the split rails and uprights, but maybe wait to see they
Where
have
that
that
is-
marked
where
off
that
before
is,
we do any work,
where that
before
is,
they knock it
yeah.
out.
It's possible that that fence is very close to the edge
Edge
of
of
the right.
the ditch, yeah.
Yeah, that fence could be, end up being in the middle of the ditch.
Possible. My fence has been in that spot for, ever since I've been here.
as long as I can remember. As long as I can remember.
But PJ, prior to Memorial Day, we'll get that all squared away.
Yeah.
As we
yeah.
do with our cemetery, upkeep, when we go in there and straighten things out.
We usually plan a week ahead of time to dedicate to the maintenance in the cemeteries before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And last meeting, we did re-sign a contract with JFD, and they've been phenomenal to work with, so they're well aware of the importance of Memorial Day to us. So.
Just a couple more things there real quick here is, the welcome to Auburn signs that have long been discussed. The contractor is ready to start picking some locations. I guess, did you go into that today?
Yes, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I believe Fred, myself, and
Yeah.
Nancy.
So, they're looking at maybe installing mid-month. And, we started looking at, you know, carpet showing some wear in the building here. It's, you know, original from when we moved in 30 years now. Right at 30 years. So we started talking about that and also looking hard at this table. And as you guys can see over there, somebody took it upon themselves to carve a little bit here in the corner. I can see right here. And there's, you know, various coffees, whatever, spills and things like that. We got a quote to refinish this table at just under $1,700. And Nancy's been looking at replacements. One would be possibly 2 feet longer, new, resemble this one very closely. And that would be at just under $1,800. So, just a couple of thoughts there that.
I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I think it's a good price she found. She shopped a lot of places to get that, but I don't see why we would refurbish this
Not at that difference.
when
no.
it's more expensive,
Not at that difference.
and we could use an extra couple feet.
Yeah, and we need, you know, this doubles, it's not just a meeting desk, this is the conference table when you got different parties coming
All
in
the
here.
boards
Yeah,
meet here.
you gotta, it's gotta resemble this pretty closely, and this one seems to, there's some pictures. I would be in favor of making that purchase, but I think you deal with the carpet first, but if you guys wanna lock in that
Well,
table.
I happened to talk to Nancy this afternoon, there's only really one, they have one table available. It comes in 2 halves, so I think we could move
Well,
it.
we have to assemble it anyway, so we can just,
I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead with that. I think it's a phenomenal deal right there.
yeah, I'll second. This really seems to fit our needs if they only got this one left. Huge move on it, so I'll second that.
John,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
we could also ask our boards not to carve on it.
Yeah, whoever did that, that was, you can't always, I don't know who it was. They didn't leave their initials, so we can't track it down anyway. All right, what do you got, Fred?
All right, got your regular reports in front of you, your revenue status report, appropriation status report, and your fund summary report. Also, payment listing for warrants 5050 through 5073, totaling $776.81. And I have a proposed resolution for supplemental appropriations. We need to appropriate some more funds for the payment of healthcare premiums. So here's the resolution 2019-9. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Shelby County, Ohio, the following supplemental appropriations are necessary to pay for healthcare premiums. $20,000 to Road and Bridge Fund Account 2031-330-221, medical hospitalization. $6,000 to Fire Levy Fund Account 2191-110-221, medical hospitalization. And that's the resolution.
I'll move to adopt that resolution.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
That's all I got.
Okay, we've been discussing kind of regularly potential of a Nature Works grant. Chagrin River Watershed Partners, which we're a longstanding member of, has offered to help us coordinate that grant application, and as we discussed before, we agreed with that. What our goal is and we're asking for public input from you students that are up here tonight too. We're looking at pavilion at the park. Like, if you guys have been up there for anything, most everybody congregates around the awning or the porch at the new, at the storage building. This would be an actual pavilion that would entertain much more people and work for meetings, small meetings, family get-togethers, things like that, and would fit in how the park is used. So we'd appreciate, she might have forms over there, I believe I see them, that just like I think it's 3 or 4 questions, would you support such a project? So if you folks could take those home with you or fill them out here, we'd appreciate that. We're looking to gather public input on this because it helps with the grant application. Zoning fees,
Keep them the same,
that's easy.
no changes.
I'll make a motion, we continue the schedule of zoning fees for 2019.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. Okay, that Velisano bike outing that's been coming through town now for several years, they're coming through again, and it's gonna be July 20th and 21st. You'll probably see signs popping up with that, designating that route. They've kind of very much increased their community outreach before that race does come through, and that's probably a good idea. So they've sent us a form that we're aware of it, and just beware, there'll be a lot of bicycles in town that weekend, 20th and 21st of July.
Yeah, because we don't have any permits or anything that would apply to that, so.
Well, I think we'll just, we're
Notify the
informed of
fire
this, but we're
department.
not certainly being liable for anything. It's their obligation to follow all the highway,
Yes.
established highway protocol, and I only bring that up because in the first one of their riders drove through a stop sign and hit a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was
Over here.
laid up for quite a while, like 8 or 9 months. And I'm sorry to have that happen to the bicyclist, but
They rolled a stop sign. That's what they did, and those are there for a reason. And there was also kind of a lack of coordination with sheriff's department.
That year, they
Law.
just showed up.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
just
think
showed up.
anybody really knew in the county that there was a race going on, or I don't know that it's actually a race, or maybe it is.
It's a fundraiser
Yeah.
thing. I
They've
think
raised
there's-
a lot of money.
Yeah. I think there's several different events. One might be a race, and I think one's just a long pleasure ride, but that raises money. Yeah, anyway, so the sheriff's aware, we'll sign and move on. We've got some franchise fees, Fred.
$4,876.32 from Charter Communications.
I'll make a motion that we put that into the Land Acquisition and Improvement Fund.
I'll second that.
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. Well, the save the dates are all quite a bit down the road, so we won't go over any of that stuff just yet, but, public comment at the end of the meeting. Yes.
Yes, question about two warrants, two sign invoices this time, Easy Sign and Minuteman Press, can you clarify?
Easy Sign was for a sign
Yeah,
to-
you are a little specific?
to alert the public as to the location of the flag drop-off box at the fire department. And Minutemen was for the printing of requisition forms.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you for coming. I'll look for a motion.
So motion to adjourn. I will second John's motion. Either way. Outcome should be the same.
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. Okay. Thank you all.
Sorry.